Baby Driver is the newest movie from writer-director Edgar Wright. It stars Ansel Elgort in the title role of Baby in this heist movie. I'm Alex Payne, and with me as always is my partner Kevin L'Souza. Kevin, you and I went and saw this movie. I thought it was fantastic. I know you really liked it.
I did.
We left the theater though with differing opinions, which is rare for us, not only in film in general,
Yes.
but especially for Edgar Wright.
Especially for Edgar Wright.
I mean, you and I have both praised everything that he's done, including films like Scott Pilgrim, where I really didn't think going into it
Same
that I was
way.
going to like that movie.
Yeah, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I mean, the guy really is so solid.
He's got a terrific eye that's honestly lacking in Hollywood, and that's a key point that you and I both touched on, which is,
Yes.
frankly, Hollywood, take note, this is how you do an action movie. They don't have to be dreary. They do not all have to follow the very Christopher Nolan idea.
Exactly. They don't have to follow these same tropes that we've been seeing for the last about decade, I'd say, pretty solidly. And this film, I think that fundamentally speaking, we both agree that it is so technically good that it's difficult to leave this with negative impression. And the reason that we disagree is not that. So let's talk a little bit about what the film, kind of just general framework. It's a heist movie.
It is a heist movie, and it is a heist movie that is somehow rolled together in a musical, which I thought was fantastic. And
That's
I will say,
such a
I'm a
great
big
idea.
fan of musicals. I know you are not as much. Like, I liked La La Land, not your cup of tea.
But do it like this.
Oh, this was absolutely brilliant, and the cinematography they were dances,
Yes.
and there are literal moments in this movie that may as well be part of a Broadway production.
Yes, it had that feel to it, didn't
And
it?
the
I mean,
opening
really.
scene is one of the best openings in a movie that I have seen in years. I mean, I am
completely
honestly
agree.
struggling to come up with an opening that I have loved as much as the opening to Baby Driver, except maybe Life of the Bullet in
Lord of War, right. Oh, that's
And-
04. That's all the way back
right.
there. Yeah, we totally agree on that because I was giddy. I mean, when this thing
Well, I know
opened,
you were.
this thing opened and I was like, watch what's happening. This was such a good opening. And it just goes to show that with a director like this who has a style that is so distinct and just...
Oh, I would dare you to watch any Edgar Wright film for more than 30 seconds and not know that it's an Edgar Wright film.
Immediately. If you've ever had any familiarity with this director, you will know it's him.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yes, I will say it started out so strong that it's a grabber. You're in it immediately.
And it finishes strong.
It does. My perspective on it, obviously, and here's the difference we can discuss, is that I think that it sags in the middle.
But you know that I don't disagree with you that the second act is not as strong as the first or the third.
Correct.
I just do not think that it takes away from this film in the way that you do. And I think
Sure.
that it's carried through by probably my favorite Jamie Foxx performance since Collateral.
Yes.
John Hamm in a turn that is so different from what we've come to expect
Oh my
from
goodness.
John Hamm.
What a great role.
He was absolutely terrific.
He was magnetic. He was
Kevin
really good.
Spacey, like we said, is always good.
Yes.
He always commands the center of attention anytime he's on screen.
Yes.
And this is no exception.
He's funny. He's scary. He's everything. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. And, honestly, Lily James is very good. A smaller role for her, but a very good performance.
Yes,
Isa
yes.
Gonzalez, who I'm not that familiar with, but I'll say the same thing with
Yeah.
Ansel Elgort, because this is the first thing I've seen of his.
Same way.
I
So-
never got around to the Divergent movies, but
Nope.
but let's get into the second act.
Yes. So yeah, let's get into a disagreement here, because the second act really explores the romance that you have between the titular character and Deb. And the problem I have with it is that it's set up in such a way. The first scene that you see them together, without giving too much away, is really elegantly done, and it's touching and it makes sense with this character. Now, one thing that, without spoiling a lot, the character of Baby listens to music throughout the film, which is what kind of makes it a musical. The music really drives it.
It does, as
And-
opposed to in a lot of films where the music is responsive to what's going on. In this movie, it almost feels like the action that takes place is responding to the music.
Right.
It's
The
very
music
much
is not. The
driven by
music
it.
isn't insistent, though. The music is simply persistent, and I like that. I like the fact that the music is just kind of always there, and the fact that the movie follows it. It's
in a
it's,
terrific way.
it's such a dance, and with Edgar Wright, you're always going to have situations throughout this movie where the details are what are so critical, and that usually are going to bear repeat viewings.
Oh, and there is no Edgar Wright film, I think, that doesn't have background detail that you need to have that sort of thing, that you need that second experience to really catch everything.
Yes, I agree. So in that sense, we agree that it's extremely well done. Now, the second act after the romance begins, that first scene is phenomenal. However,
But I think the
think-
second scene is what sets it up for them.
maybe so, but I
You've
think
got
it
the
beats it to
dance,
death with
you've
it,
got a
frankly.
romance. It really drives home who they are together.
Right, but then it lulls, and you have a bit of kind of touch and go, hit and miss moments with them that I think drag on too long. I think that is where it started to lose me. I wasn't bored because this is not a film that you're bored with. It simply was unnecessary information because I think the ambiguity of the character of Baby is what I found most appealing.
See, but I don't think that the movie was, in that second act, as much about the romance as you do. I think that it wanted to make sure that you didn't think they were forgetting about the romance, but that second act is to set up the character of Baby and who he is, what his motivation is, and also the characters of John Hamm, of Isa
True.
Gonzalez, of who these characters
Well, because I think,
are.
yeah, John Hamm, your opinion of him as the movie goes on does change, which is a testament to the
Several
fact
times,
that he's such a
actually.
good actor that your opinion of him does fluctuate throughout the film. And it should in a film that's well done and in a role that is well realized. It should fluctuate a bit.
Well,
That's good.
But let's talk about the things that you and I think that this movie did well. Obviously, we've talked about the music. We've talked about how great Edgar Wright is, what his vision is, how well he uses everybody
Yes.
in these movies. And again, the performances were fantastic.
Uniformly.
But I want to talk, at least briefly, about his eye as a director.
Yeah.
And how well these shots are put together. And these moving, panning shots that do not rely on this shaky cam, multiple take
These
that
edits
we have
that you
seen.
see,
Right.
yes.
I mean, as you and I have discussed time and time again, it is most evident in a film like the most recent Taken movie.
Oh my goodness.
Where it took
The fence.
9 takes to figure out if he jumped a fence or not, and we're still not even sure whether he did or not. I know you've expressed that you're not even sure he was on set.
I don't think he was.
No.
I don't even know that Denise was involved in that.
No, he may have been behind the camera drinking tea.
Probably.
And someone like Edgar Wright, that he sets up these shots, and when a shot doesn't go well, and they're very expensive shots.
These are
expensive
shots
sets.
with professional stunt drivers at the top of their game doing
Right.
phenomenal things with vehicles
I
I
mean-
can't even fathom.
Absolutely, and I will absolutely put this movie, as far as cinematography goes, and this is high praise, on the same level as the first John Wick movie.
Oh boy, yeah.
And I think that is, for me, the biggest takeaway of this movie is that, like John Wick, is helping to push the genre in a different direction.
Yes,
I think that's what we're getting here from Baby Driver.
I would agree with you. I think this is a much more beautiful take on how you can present a film color-wise in terms of just the general motion of the camera and these shots that you can tell were expertly set up and that thrill you because you see it actually
Oh,
happen.
absolutely. And that's the thing, is I don't want to not see my actors. I don't want to have to guess what happened in a scene.
Have empirical evidence to the
Right.
result of it.
And I think that's what we get from Baby Driver. That's what we've come to expect from Edgar Wright.
Yes, it is.
And I think it's everything we got from it. So, traditional scale with a C being, see this movie, but don't necessarily run out to the theater.
Passing grade.
Right. Where are you grading this movie?
I'm going to run a B+. So that's to say, this is a well above average film that has flaws that I left a little cold on. I found maybe a little bit difficult to forgive a couple of things, but that it's a really expertly crafted film that you should definitely be seeing.
And I think while Kevin left the theater cold, perhaps he should have worn a jacket, I'm going to give Baby Driver an A. And it may not sound like there's much of a divide in this, but for me, an A grade is honestly held to very few films. An A plus is reserved for things like Shawshank Redemption, Citizen Kane, and while I think that this movie pushed boundaries and was absolutely perfect in so many ways, there were some lulls in the second act. I don't think as much so as Kevin, but it definitely did enough. You need to go see this film, and Hollywood, again, take notice. This is how you make an action movie.